enough's enough now, I think. Reflecting after that game, it is well and truly game over. Poor performance, well, apart from the first, 5 to 10 minutes again, like last week. Poor performance. Just, I don't know what to say anymore. Getting sick of it, getting really fed up with it now. The constant crap getting served up every week. It's just the same old story. You get a good 5 to 10 minutes out of the team. Right, we took the lead. Should have been 1-0 anyway. Prior to that, with Babel missing that fantastic one-on-one. He was waiting all day for Fabianski to sit down. Didn't go down, did he? And he didn't try. He tried to chip it over him, but it didn't work. And when we squandered that, I was thinking it's going to be the same as what happened when we played them at our ground. When we had that big chance, we missed it, but we did take the lead, didn't we? It was a good goal, but things started to unwind after that. And I know the Hernandez goal was wasn't, it was handball, let's be honest. And if we had VAR in place, it would have ruled it out, no doubt about it. But look, Rico should be catching that. He's not even fucking challenged for it, is he? There's no one around him there, and he's punched it right up into the air again. And I'm just sick and tired of this now. I really am. It's just I just get so pissed off at the way certain things go at this club and that. Ranieri hasn't got a fucking clue no more, has he? He just hasn't. At half time, when you're bringing on Markovic and Anguissa to try and change the game, it's never going to work. They were both totally useless tonight, and it just really angers me what's going on at this club. It is just horrible. We're relegated. There's no doubt about it. We're going to go down. It's inevitable now. What do the club do now? Do we still persevere with this dinosaur in the hope that he's going to somehow pull off a miracle, which even Jesus himself couldn't pull off for us? He couldn't pull off a miracle like this, and he could work miracles, and he can't work this one. Let's be brutally honest. This ain't going to work. So he's got to go. We've got to sack Ranieri, bring in somebody now who's going to put a little bit of groundwork in now, and then hopefully maintain that through the summer and into next season, because Ranieri won't stay. Hearing all that bullshit about it going on Twitter today, or him saying he loves the club, he wants to stay. It's a load of PR nonsense. Everyone knows he's not going to stay next season. I don't want to hear all these stupid sound bites from him. He's a dinosaur. He's tactically all over the place. He just hasn't got a clue how to set up a team, and it's just poor from him. He's got to go. And I know he's going to get some of the blame, but some of them players on the pitch have to get the blame as well. The majority of them tonight were just a sack of shit. No one really cares anymore. There's no care, there's no passion there at all. Not saying all of them. There's a few players who did show some fighting spirit, but there's not enough of them to warrant that. And there's a reason why we're down there. It's because there's not enough players showing the required commitment. And tonight proved that again. There's too many players who are just coasting through games week in, week out, who are comfortable, and they're not being challenged and not stepping out of the comfort zone to try and put themselves on the line for the club. They're just coasting through games, content with what they're doing, and they don't really seem bothered about too many things with this football club anymore. They don't seem to care what's going on. They don't seem to care that we're probably going to go down this season. As long as they're picking up a wage every month, and that's all they're happy with, and they're playing football, and that's all they care about. And that's not on this club. This club prides itself on having players who don't have that mentality. We've had some great players down the years who've not been the best technically and not been the most expensive players in the world, but they've grafted week in, week out, and were given their all for the club, and they've gone on to become heroes. But the majority from this group don't deserve that at all today. It's shambolic. It is an absolute disgrace how this football club's been allowed to rot like this. What was it, 9 months since being promoted? We've gone down the line. We've sacked a manager who I'd still believe was right to be sacked, and people are saying we should never have been sacked. He was right to be sacked. The style of football we had under him towards the end of his tenure was a joke as well. Let's be brutally honest. It's been a complete and utter cock-up from the word go. And it can't carry on like this no more. It simply cannot carry on. We're going to go down, and it's now up to the powers that be to decide what happens next. Do we maintain with this terrible style of football, this terrible atmosphere around the football club? There's a big thing on Twitter today about the greed of the owners and about the ticket prices. No, we've got to stop the greed, and that's going to be out on the video as well. But there's more to it than this. There's everything wrong with this football club at the moment. There's so much wrong, from the ticket prices off the pitch to everything on the pitch. Everything's going to have to change dramatically in the summer, because if it doesn't, then there's going to be some serious problems moving forward. We've got to make a change sooner rather than later. We're going to go down, as I've said, but we need to make the appropriate changes now to be put in place for next season to give us the best chance of at least trying to come back in the next couple of years, because we won't come back next year. You can mark my words on that. We're not going to go up next season if we go down. Well, when we go down, we ain't coming back up next year, I don't think. It's going to be a process where people have to be patient. We're not going to suddenly walk the league next year. We're going to have to be patient. It's going to be a transitional season, which I hope we get right this time, because we was in this situation last time and we almost went down to League One. We can't afford to do that again this time. The mismanagement of this football club from the people who are running it and the people who are in charge of the appropriate decisions has been absolutely shocking. From the appointment we made with Ranieri, who I thought was going to be a good appointment, and we heard the phrase, what, risk-free? In what way is this man risk-free? Can someone tell me how it's risk-free? It's not. If we go down, when we go down, he leaves. How is that risk-free? Now we're going to be left in the lurches of trying to go through to find another manager again. This discreet appointment and this whole thing at this football club from around what? Probably around Slavica sacking, just screamed the word short-term. Panic, station sitting. What do we do to survive? Means to survive. We'll such short-term thinking at this football club, and it really just highlighted in the January transfer window, wasn't it? Look at that team today and our defence. It's just shocking. We can't defend. We all of a sudden now we can't defend the set piece, which has become appalling. Rico should have. If referees watched Rico from about 4 of them set pieces, we give away 2 or 3 penalties for the deliberate shoves on Hernandez. You can't do that, and it can't carry on like this. I mean, Rico tonight he made a couple of decent saves, but his commandment of a 6-yard box for a goalkeeper who's done really well this season when being called upon, it was poor. And you could see after that, just the commandment of his area was just generally terrible. He was nervous coming for crosses, made a couple of good punches, but then a couple of times he flapped at a couple of balls, like he did for the equaliser. He flapped at the punch. It wasn't good enough, but I'm disappointed. Of course, I'm not going to, I'm not going to scream and shout on this. It's not the way to do it, but it's not on anymore, and it's only going to get worse if we stick to the same regime we've got at the moment. Things have to change. We have to embrace a change. Majority of the fans want the change, including myself, and we're going to hopefully get that change. Anyone who justifies Ranieri staying at this club now needs to have their head checked, because it's just not going to happen. Look at them subs today. Looking at Lazar Markovic and people like that. It is embarrassing. It really is. This is how far we've come, and it's horrible. It is absolutely embarrassing watching Fulham play. It is absolutely embarrassing. That second half was fucking boring, and I can't stand but not watch that. We huffed and puffed a little bit, but we were never going to score. We could still be playing till about midnight tonight and still not score. And then the third goal was such a cheap goal to concede, wasn't it? But it's the same old Fulham, isn't it? Things ain't going to change at the club until something dramatically happens. We're going to have to make more than one change. Ranieri's going to have to go. Tony Kahn's going to have to go as well. He's going to step away from the director of football and move aside and let somebody come into this football club who's got more experience of running a footballing-based operation, who can make the more appropriate footballing decisions, have a better relationship with the manager. And the simple thing is, don't interfere in transfers. And if you are going to interfere in transfers, at least work better with the manager if you've got to have a little bit more of a say. But Tony Kahn's going to have to go. Claudio Ranieri's going to have to go. Ticket prices are going to have to go. There's a number of things there, 3 big things that are going to have to change dramatically for next season. Because if this carries on, loyal fans like me and like majority of other people will just bugger off and won't come back for a long time. And it's not about loyalty and things like that. You see teams, you see fans, supporters of teams who, if it's not being run properly and it's getting that to a point where it's going to be terrible, then it's obviously going to happen. But look, I don't think it's it's not. I wouldn't say a very serious situation, but it's a very dark situation at Fulham at the moment, and it's only going to get worse unless we make, as I said, unless we make the appropriate changes, in fact, in order to try and get some sort of credibility back to this football club, because it just simply, I reiterate to the phrase, it just cannot carry on like this anymore. The whole situation at the club has to be reviewed, and it's going to have to be changed, because, as I said, it's not working. Everything at this club at the moment is not working. Everything this season's been completely wrong. The January window was wrong. It was just an absolute disgrace of a window. How we went through, 31 days was it, without addressing the main important issues, and then we go and sign a right winger at the end of the window who we didn't really need at the time, and he seemed like he just, he came up probably, and then whoever's in charge, probably Tony Kahn, probably thought, oh well, we'll sign him. The fans will be happy we signed the player. It doesn't work like that, The players that we've signed in that window are just not good enough. Nordvart was okay today, but not brilliant, I didn't think. But look, it's not on no more. Changes have to be made, because this football club will decline, and it will go further the next season if these changes ain't made. But of course we won't make changes, because people at the club, you know, they'll think it's all okay. Oh, we'll go down, we'll do what we did, and that, you know, it'll be forgot about. And it's not going to work like that, because it's pissing a lot of people off now the way this club's been run. Ticket prices are an absolute disgrace. Fans are getting absolutely screwed every week because of the prices we're putting up, and it simply cannot carry on. I'm getting really annoyed about some of these things at this football club, and we're going to have to make a stand and make an appropriate change here. It's time for the fans to really unite here, because we need to do something. I heard that there's going to be a banner made in time for Liverpool, which is good. We need to put things in order to hopefully try and influence a change, because the way the club at the moment's going, there's too many people who are in charge who are completely unaware of what's going on around them, and they just don't seem to care. And there's so many people at this club who just simply do not give a shit, and things are going to have to be done. I'm going to end it there, because I could talk about this all night, but disappointing night and a whole on the pitch. But the bigger picture is this club will go down, and it's a sinking ship, and we can either do two things about it. We can either, one, at least sort the problem out and give us a bit more of a better chance of rebuilding in the summer, or two, just watch the captain of the Titanic in Ranieri just allow this sinking ship to go down without a trace, really. So it's up to the people in charge to decide. Need I say more?